Hey, it's Heidi Dawson, and this is Wednesday Wisdom, where I interview wildly successful people from across the world, where we get an inside view into what their daily life looks like. Success leaves clues, and on Wednesdays, we're finding them. Join me now for the latest wildly successful interview. Hi, guys. Welcome to the 47th episode of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. And also, welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. I'm learning so much from these interviews, and I hope you guys are too. And this one is not going to disappoint because we have Krissy Chen in the house. Krissy is the host of Badass is the New Black podcast and has built a $1 million internet business from the ground up all on her own. And she's now helping others to do the same. So I'm super stoked to talk to her. And she's also just so much fun. So let me get her on. Hi, Krissy.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Your resume is super impressive. And your podcast is just chock so full of good information. I love the message you give and the energy that you put out. So, I mean, I've gone through all of your titles, and your mindset work I love it so much. So now we talked a little bit about how this works with the questions, and I try to do it speed style because we like for the episodes to be a little shorter so that we get quick, good information, and we can pivot if we need to. So you ready?
Perfect. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So first of all, this is one that I ask everyone just because I love to hear the answer, and I'm so curious, and I'm finding routines and patterns. So do you have a regular morning routine, and what is it?
When I remember. When I remember to do it. Usually, and this is horrible, but it's like literally grabbing my phone the second I wake up. I think that's a habit I need to eliminate, but I'm always checking to see, like, do I have any messages come in? What do I have to get started for the day? And I just kind of lay in bed until the kids wake up. Yes, my kids sleep in, which is amazing, but I decide to have a positive day. Excuse me. And I just get in the habit of thinking about things that I'm grateful for, kind of just to get my day started off really well. And the kids wake up, we head downstairs, we get them dressed. I usually stay in my jammies for an extended period of time, but I get them dressed, we head downstairs, we have breakfast together. I'm like, creature of habit. So 2 fried eggs and avocado are like my go-to. I take my supplements, and then I get them set up with the nanny, and I head into my office, get the diffuser going, and get to work. And so it's pretty much the same every morning.
Okay. Well, you know what? I have found that so many people that I talk to that are successful and have a positive outlook, they start their day being grateful, whether they're journaling it, whether they're just meditating about it, or whether they just think about it. So I love that. So how many hours a night do you sleep? Do you think and do you think that plays a role in your success?
Yeah, absolutely. And people might laugh when they hear how much I sleep, but last night I went to bed at 10:30 and I didn't wake up till 9 this morning. So I am a full night sleeper.
I love it. That's a lot of sleep.
That was.
Do you think that plays a role in your success, because you have a lot of success online, and you're sleeping? That's great.
So here's the deal. So I usually sleep, it's between, I would say 8 and I'll say 11 hours, because that was about that last night. But my brain is super, super active during the day. I'm always full of ideas. I'm always thinking about things. I'm always analyzing things. I'm always thinking of strategy. And so it's just busy. And so to be able to like recharge and have that high energy as a high performer, I have got to get sleep. And it's been that way since I was a child. I mean, I was the one that would sleep in until 11 in the morning. And my mom always joked with me about how much sleep I needed. And so I've just embraced that instead of like, oh, I'm an adult. You 6 and 7 hours of sleep because other people are doing it. No, I'm like, I embrace, everyone knows around me that I have to sleep, extended period of time. And it just works. It works.
You know what? I love that so much, because most people, like you said, would say, I'm an adult now, I can't do that. But you can. And the fact that you embrace it and you're like, look, this is how I am. I'm working all day. My brain is active and it needs to rest. And that's how I am. I love that so much. So, All right. So before we get into some of the business questions that I'm excited to ask you about, you are a mom and you look amazing. With your busy schedule, like how do you find time to exercise, and do you have a healthy routine that you eat like the same thing every day, or how's that work?
Oh goodness. You say that I look great and it's like, oh, there's always room for improvement, or like, gosh, what is my fitness and diet routine? And really mostly diet wise, January 1st, I decided to, take my food sensitivities into account and
Yeah.
I cut them out. So I've always struggled with being sensitive to gluten and being sensitive to dairy. And weirdly enough, when I was pregnant, they didn't bother me as much. So I kind of got in the habit of eating them. That's all I craved, which was crazy. But then after, they started bothering me again. And I'm sure so many people out there listening have tried to cut out gluten, have tried to cut out dairy, and it is hard.
Yeah.
But I decided January 1st, I have got to do it. The brain fog is too much. I'm too tired. Like it's just got to go. And so I kind of committed to just functioning as this high performer. And so that diet wise was what the change that I needed to make. And that alone, I mean, think about all the nasty, crappy foods you eat
Right.
that have gluten and dairy in them. So imagine if I'm
Most of
cutting
them.
those out, right? I'm eliminating majority of the desserts, and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that right there just kind of kickstarted me into a healthier diet, I would definitely say.
Okay,
Um,
that's good. I love it that you're not just like, okay, well, I only eat this and I only eat that, because that is very good to hear. I have the same sensitivities, and so I can't eat gluten. I mean, dairy and gluten bother me the same way, but I'm also allergic to a lot of other things, so like eggs and stuff like that. So, but I've noticed that I can, when I gradually, like if I just eat 1 or 2 eggs a week, then it helps. So, but knowing being open and in tune to your body so that you know the sensitivities, to me, I think is crucial. And you do that. So that's great. So,
yeah.
all right. Now you changed your career from being a nurse working long hours to working for yourself and building this $1 million business online. Like, was that a scary jump? And is there something that you can attribute the most to your success in doing that?
It wasn't really that scary because I built my business. So I've dabbled in a few things. And so at the time I started in network marketing. And so I was able to build up that business first to replace my income before I left my nursing job. So I do take risks, but most of them are really calculated. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like I have nothing. I just have this business idea and now I'm leaving my job. I had a supportive husband, he made, a good income. And so I had that support.
Okay.
But I did it gradually enough to the point where it's like, okay, now, this is a calculated risk and I'm going to jump all in so that I can really grow to the point that I want to grow. And so I would say that the one thing that attributed most was just taking action, really believing in myself enough to just go for it and not waiting until I had all of the answers before I get started, because
Okay,
that alone.
yeah, that's huge that you say that, because so often perfectionism or expecting, to know everything before you go is why people don't make that jump. And just hearing that from you, that it's like, okay, I didn't I didn't expect everything to be perfect, and I didn't know exactly what I was doing, and I took action and that made it happen. So that is wonderful advice. I love that. I love that you said that. So
Yeah, done is better than perfect is one of my mottos I live by.
done is better than perfect. I love that. Love it so much. All right. So did you always know you were meant to do the entrepreneur thing, or is it something you had in your mind for a long time, or just something that clicked?
Definitely did not grow up thinking I was going to be an entrepreneur. And it really wasn't until I realized that I hated my schedule as a nurse that I even thought about my own business. And I think it was really just discovering different opportunities that would give me that time freedom and that financial freedom that I dreamed about having. It was like every opportunity that would give me both of those things was something that involved me owning something. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is the path that I'm going down next. And so it just kind of happened.
I love that. And yeah, that is so good, because I've always been an entrepreneur, sort of like I always just love being an entrepreneur. And so, but it did sort of work in. Everything I've done has been a stepping stone to what my next thing is, and
Yeah,
it helped me. Yeah.
I definitely don't have the story of I started my lemonade stand and, was selling
Yeah.
things when I was 6. Like, that is not my story. It was like, okay, this whole like working for someone else thing is not working for me, being, a slave to the time clock and all of that. And it was like, oh, okay, like there's these other opportunities out there. Let me just explore that. So for
Yeah. It's just being
whoever's
open to
listening
it.
whoever's listening who did not start a lemonade stand or sell something when they were a child, you still have hope. I have hope for you.
I love that. Okay, good. We're giving people hope. That's what they need, because so many people are scared to take that jump. Okay,
Yeah.
so now if you were to give yourself one piece of advice when you're just starting out from the wisdom that you have now, what do you have, something that you could give us?
Yeah. So I already talked about taking action. So we'll eliminate that one. I would say surround yourself with supportive people who lift you up and cheer you on. Get rid of the people who don't believe in you, aren't supportive. And if it's your husband, maybe you can't just kick him to the curb, but like set it straight. Like, I'm going for this and I really need you to be supportive. And then just connect with a community that knows what you're going through, other entrepreneurs, or friends that just really lift you up and cheer you on, because it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. It is so helpful to have people that support you. Okay, now, is there a book that you think that everyone should be reading, or that everyone should read, or a podcast that everyone should be listening to that you're loving?
So I don't read a whole lot of books. My thing is like watching and listening to videos or audio, just because I wouldn't say I don't have the time to read. I don't make the time to read. I'd rather be doing other things. So I
Right.
don't necessarily have a book. And I would say, other than your podcast and my podcast, one that one that I love is the Angie Lee Show. She's my kind of funny. She's one really smart chick. And I just really fell in love with her podcast. And so hers is definitely one that I listen to often.
Angie Lee Show. So spell that, because I'll put that in the show notes.
It's just ANGIELEE Show. That's
Oh,
the Angie Lee Show. Yeah, she's
awesome.
great. She's a hoot.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes, and I will certainly add it to my list. And I also have added your podcast because it's so good. And give us the title of that again. Tell me how you came up with that.
Badass is the new black. I don't know. I just have always had this thing with like being badass, and while, or just, I don't know, trying to make it cool. Like being yourself is cool always, to like badass is the new black. So something that's always in fashion, always in style, is just being the best you. And to me, that's super badass. So it's just like,
I love that. I love that too. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so now you have an episode on your podcast about limiting beliefs. What is one limiting belief that you had to overcome to become as successful as you are?
Gosh, it was definitely before even entrepreneurship. So when I was deciding what I was going to go to school for, I had this idea of like becoming a nurse, but I had this huge limiting belief that I wasn't smart enough to go through nursing school and to become a nurse. And I just kept thinking like, gosh, am I smart enough? I had good grades in high school, but I scored really low on my ACTs, and I just didn't have the confidence that I could do it. And so I would literally try and find anyone that I knew that had either gone through nursing school or was in nursing school. And I would ask myself like, if they could do it, then I could probably do it. I know like how they were in school. And so if they can do it, I can do it. And so that just gave me enough confidence. And I know like the comparison game is the worst to do, but that's just kind of what got me over it. And then I realized that once I made it through nursing school, it really gave me the confidence that I could do anything that I set my mind to. And I might have to work really hard, and I might have to study a lot. And that's exactly what I did and what I do in my business today. So I work hard, I listen to everything, I apply the strategies that I've learned, I assess, I reassess on how to make it better, and it just works. So that was an old limiting belief. It is not there anymore. But yeah. That was it.
That's so good. I love that because, so many, and it's not, I look at what you said is not really comparing, it's using someone else as an inspiration. Like they did it, I can do it too. So I think I love that. It's very true because when you see someone do something, it always makes it possible. And I love to be an example of what's possible. For other people as well. So you talk about mindset a lot, which I love. What do you think is one thing every person should consider or be doing to create a better, more positive mindset?
100% get a mindset coach. If mindset is your struggle, get a coach who can help you, and then just learn more about yourself and how your brain operates so that you can improve it. The second that I realized that I had this core fear of not being enough, my entire life changed. And I teach my students this, and it's in my course, talking about the 2 core fears that every adult has. And one of them is fear of not being enough as you are. And in mindset coaching, working with someone, I realized that was a fear of mine. And when I learned it, everything changed. And so I tell myself now when I'm in a situation, you are enough just as you are. And I absolutely believe it. And so now I do things because I want to do them, not because I'm trying to prove to others that I can. And it brings so much more joy into my life and into my business with that kind of mindset.
That is huge.
So get yourself a mindset coach if
that's huge.
That is your thing.
And okay, so your course then, I know you have a little surprise for us that you're gonna, work with us on, because you've got something that that course is, I know, is phenomenal. In fact, I want to take it, so I can't wait. All right.
I can't wait for you to take it.
I know. I'm excited. I'm a course girl. Like I love to grow and learn, and I'm a big reader. So that all is really fun to me. Like learning something new every day is so important, and for me, I just love doing that. So, all right. Last but not least, and this is another one that I ask a lot because I get the best answers. What is one piece of advice that you give yourself back when you were just starting out?
This was actually the hardest question for me.
Okay.
But what I came up with is writing down more stories about my journey along the way. How I felt in that moment, what was the transformation that happened, inside me in a specific situation. People love learning through stories, and they remember things more through stories. And so I would love to write a book. That's on my list of, my bucket list. But if I had more stories written down that I could share and teach, it would just make things a lot easier. Of course, I can remember the big things that happen, but the little things along the way. So that was like one thing, if I could go back and tell myself when I was just starting, it'd be like, write down more of your journey for sure.
That's beautiful. I love that because, that thought of people learn from stories is so true. I mean, I think about one of the best storytellers, in my opinion, is Tony Robbins. And I learn from him when he tells those stories, and you never forget that because it's something that activates in your brain when you hear a story, as opposed to just somebody telling you something. Your brain is interested and it will remember that. So, okay, I think that's wonderful advice. I think you did good on that. So, awesome. All right. So all of this has been so, so good. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, how do we get in touch with you if we want to work with you and talk just a little bit more about the course?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me across various social platforms as the Krissy Chin. So my website is the Krissy Chin, whatever, the Krissy Chin. So that's my website. That's my handle on Instagram. That's my Facebook page. So that's how you can find me, connect with me, ask me questions and all of that jazz. And then my course is called Build a Blissful Business. And it is this whole idea of not just building a business, but building a business that you love and that supports the lifestyle that you want. Because that was such a struggle in my journey as I started this other business. And while it was going to make me the amount of money that I desired, I was not going to have the freedom in time and schedule. And so I was like, okay, after I wasted a year, didn't waste a year. I never waste time, right? It's like you learn something, but with, time and money spent, it was like, oh, this is kind of the wrong business for me. So we focus on that in the beginning. We definitely cover mindset. And then it's all about building your brand, your personal brand, and dives way more in depth than just what your brand looks like, the visuals, the logo, the colors. And we get into messaging, and I help you identify, your purpose and your message, and learn more about your ideal client, what their problems are, what are the solutions you have, what's the transformation you're going to give them. And so we just dive into your brand. You have, your brand like the back of your hand when you are done. And then I help you get it on social media. So there's a module on taking it onto Instagram to make sure that you are attracting your ideal client, because that's really important. And then getting it online and starting a website also. And I've got a couple special guests in there, experts that talk on visual branding, on website design, and even some legal aspects of making sure that your business is protected. So it covers a ton, and it's everything that you need to really get a really good, solid foundation. So whether you're just starting out in your business or you're looking to expand your brand, I've had a couple girls go through it that they were, adding things onto their brand or making a little bit of a transition. And they were like, this was perfect for a rebrand. Like, it took me back to the basics and it inspired me to make some major changes. So whether you're beginning or, you've already kind of been through it, but you're looking to make some changes, it's the perfect course.
That sounds like it is everything that someone who's doing an online business needs. I mean, that sounds fabulous. I'm super excited about that. Okay, awesome. All right. And you have a promo code for us. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So right now the course is actually not open to anybody, but I will give you, if you go to my website, you can join the wait list, but then I will also give you $100 off code. So it's actually, Heidi, I'll give you a special link so they don't even have to wait on the wait list. I'm going to give you a link. So they'll be able to find it in the show notes.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they'll click on that link. It's going to take them right to the course, and they can get $100 off with the promo code WILDLY. So we'll make sure that's all in the show notes for them.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Krissy. I am so excited to see that. And I just am so happy that you came on. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Awesome. I had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Krissy. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together. And I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.